Good morning and welcome to the Chronic Pain Call-In Show, the only show about chronic pain where you can call in live. I'm your host, Joseph of Borg. I'm here every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Time. I look forward to talking to you. Good morning and welcome to the Chronic Pain Call-In Show. I am Joseph of Borg. Happy Sunday to you guys. Last week it seemed like I was having some tech issues, and that seems to have been related to my internet carrier from what they told me. So today it should work much better. So just wondering, how are you guys doing today? If anybody's out there want to give me a thumbs up, say hi, ask questions about chronic pain management. That's pretty much what I do. Try to get on here every Sunday morning. So good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I've been a member of the chronic pain community online pretty much since there first became a chronic pain community online. So I figured I'd get on here on Sunday mornings, share a little coffee with you. Looks like I got one viewer already. Yay. I've been a chronic pain patient for over a decade. Due to the fact that my condition was deemed inoperable from the get-go, I have been through most of the techniques, I guess, or treatments that chronic pain clinics offer, from injections through getting a spinal cord stimulator. So if you want to talk about chronic pain treatments, questions, thoughts about living with chronic pain, here's your chance. The phone line is open. I will try and type in the number here real quick if you want to call me live. Obviously, you can contact me through the chat as well. There's the phone number, 725-333-4140. Other than that, I didn't have too much else planned. I did want to talk a little bit. Excuse me. Last week, somebody asked me what I thought the future of pain management was going to be, since we've got the opiate witch hunt going on, for lack of a better term. That's the way I think of it. I don't want to get too down about it this morning or start off on a negative note, but I know a lot of people who have lost their meds over the last few years, which really, it only makes sense then that we're going to wonder what's the future of pain management going to look like for those of us who can't be fixed. And really, I think it's going to be electronic, simply because our nervous system runs on electricity. Not just because I have a spinal cord stimulator, but that is one of the reasons I chose one. But I think we are going to get better and better at interfacing our nervous system with outside devices. I know I was talking with them at Medtronic back in 2013, when I got my implant, and they said eventually their hope is that, say you break your forearm, they'll be able to put a device on your shoulder right on the skin to interfere with the pain signal going to the arm, as opposed to having to take medications. So I know they're not there yet, but I think we're going to see some amazing things as technology gets better and better. I've watched just in the 4 or 5 years that I've had my implant how much things have changed, and how many advances they've made in spinal cord stimulators. So I'm going to just hang out here and pretty much chat to the camera. I don't really have an agenda this morning. I'm shooting again from my couch because I think the stream interface is a lot better than if I go through OBS. I've done previous shows from my desktop with the green screen, and I'm able to put up a little bit of graphics over here and do my thing. But to be honest, it just doesn't give me due to the lag, it doesn't give me the instant interface that I get with you guys if I just go live straight through Facebook. So, which is probably the fault of the equipment I'm using, since I don't have a very high-tech computer or anything. And it looks like we picked up a viewer. Good morning. Welcome to the Chronic Pain Call-In Show. How you doing? If you can hear me out there, somebody give me a thumbs up. Or I guess since I got one viewer, go ahead and feel free to give me a thumbs up, just to let me know everything's working. So this is a place where I get on every Sunday to discuss chronic pain issues, topics, managing chronic pain, pretty much anything related to chronic pain for those of us in the chronic pain community. And we lost the viewer, so I must be really boring this morning. Or I kind of look a mess. I don't know. Oh, they're back. Not much going on this morning, kind of quiet. The weather's finally turned hot here in Las Vegas. It's been a really mild summer for heat through July, but now we're getting into the 100 plus temperatures. We haven't had too many of those. With the dry climate out here, I don't find it to be too uncomfortable until it breaks about 110. And we really haven't had much of that this year. Previous years, we've had some pretty long stretches. When I first started working out here in 2014, I remember having a couple of weeks where it was 115, 119, 114, day after day. I find it especially oppressive when the low doesn't get below 100. When it's 100 degrees at 4 in the morning, it starts to wear on you a little bit. So if anybody's out there, feel free to type in hello, give me a thumbs up, let me know you can hear me. Nobody out there this morning, no comments, so we will just talk a little bit. I've been having a hard time with my chronic pain, in part because we had some weather come through. I know a lot of you are affected by the weather like I am, especially changes in the barometric pressure when we get hurricanes, or as they call them, monsoons. Hey, I got a thumbs up so somebody can hear me. The monsoons off the West Coast, obviously, because of the size of the storm, even though it doesn't actually rain here in Las Vegas, it still definitely fucks up my physicality. The pressure changes, and of course, they can take days to travel up the coast. So I have been wondering lately if it's really better to live here than someplace that gets an occasional thunderstorm, because obviously thunderstorms aren't, 1,000 miles across like some of the hurricanes can be. I keep saying hurricanes because that's the term I'm most familiar with. I had never heard monsoon till I moved out here. But from what I understand, technically, if it's off the Atlantic Ocean, it's a hurricane. If it's in the Pacific Ocean, it's a monsoon, technically. But basically, it's just two different words for the same thing. So if anybody's got some chronic pain questions, feel free to type them in. Give me a call. Hey, I saw there's another thumbs up from somebody who joined us. Hey, Cheryl, how you doing? It's good to see you. I'm told that there is a way to add people into the live chat. If I knew how to do it, that would be kind of cool to be able to add people into the conversation. Hey, Richard, what's up? Good morning. Richard, I think we were just talking about you looking at having surgery, wanting to have ketamine after the procedure. Was that you? I'm sorry. It's I was in the middle of letting the dogs out and getting ready to do the show. So I've never tried ketamine for my pain conditions. I've thought about it. I've briefly discussed it with one of my doctors. I'm just not sure it's a corner I'm ready to turn, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. Hey, good morning. We got another Ada, we talked last week. You just missed it. I was talking about your question from last week, which was the future of pain management. I really think I thought about it a lot. I did a little bit of research, and to be honest, I really think the future of pain management is going to be electric, I was saying. Not because I have a spinal cord stimulator, although that's part of the reason I chose to go electric, so I wouldn't have to worry about med refills. When I got to kind of the end of the line, for pain management, there's kind of a fork in the road. You either go spinal cord stimulator or you go pain pump. And I really didn't want the pain pump for two reasons. And I guess this will make as good a topic as any, or a little bit of conversation. I didn't care to get a pain pump because I didn't have pain that responded well to opiate-based medications anyway. So since my pain had never really been managed and affected well, I decided not to go with the pump. And also, I didn't want to have to get it refilled every month and all that. So that's why I went electric, and my trial was amazing. So once I had my trial, it was a done deal as to which direction I was going to go. But even back in 2013, when I got my implant, I was talking about, they're talking, I've seen the advances they've made in spinal cord stimulators the last few years. And I also happen to have talked with some Medtronic developers and people who talked about their goal is to be able to alleviate pain electronically, which makes sense to a point since our nervous system is electronic, basically runs on electricity. As they get the interface better and better, that, you know, if you broke your forearm, they'd be able to put a little device on your shoulder that would interfere with the nerve signal going up to your brain to stop the pain from your arm, so you would be able to not take pain meds for your arm. So I really think we're going to see more pushes towards that as we, due to the opiate witch hunt and their reluctance to prescribe opiate medication. Thankfully, I've not had to take a lot of more opiate medication. I do use pain pills. I usually take somewhere between 3 to 7 a week, depending on what I'm doing. I usually take them for like long car rides or when I'm going to do my physical therapy. So, but that's pretty much my thoughts on it. Yep, the external stimulators are showing up recently. That seems to be a big new thing. Personally, for me, for long-term pain management, I wouldn't go that route. And personally, my thoughts on that are putting the leads in is really probably the most invasive part of it. They try to talk a lot about, yes, necessity is definitely the mother of invention. I say that a lot, so I guess we think alike. But I really don't think they, for things like, I do my physical therapy in the pool. I do all my exercise in the pool. I try and do 2 hours, 3 days a week. And I couldn't wear that in the pool if it was the external battery system that you mentioned. I couldn't take it in the shower. And since I run my implant 24/7 around the clock. In fact, I've got 4 programs that I run concurrently. I've got this little white and blue snowflake looking thing on the right side of my screen, and I'm not sure what it means. It's right on the edge of my photo. So again, I'm pretty new at using the Facebook Live interface, but it seems to be working out all right. But yeah, I've been amazed just in the last few years watching the advances in spinal cord stimulators in particular. I know personally, they told me that their goal is to eventually get to the point where they'll have the computer interaction will be so fast that they'll actually put 2 separate leads at 2 different points in your spine. Let's say you have problems in your low back. They'll put a lead just above your problem area, and that will receive the signal or intercept the signal, which will then send it over to your IPG, which is your internal pulse generator, the little computer that runs the system. It will read the signal. It will basically use a program to determine what exactly it needs to counteract that signal. You'll have a second lead further up in your spine. It will send the interference signal, if you will, to that second lead and stop the pain dead in its tracks, which will alleviate a lot of the tinkering with programming or the need for different programs for doing different things. Right now, a lot of people have one program, maybe if you're going to be working outside or doing a lot of walking, and maybe they'll switch programs when they try and lay down. My unit happens to have little accelerometers in it, like a cell phone, so it knows if I'm standing, laying up, walking, rolling over in my sleep. And I don't name drop usually, but it's Medtronic, and they call it the adaptive stim. And that allows it to change programs for me automatically, which I think is really, really handy. Some of the other companies have gone with the high frequency because their thinking is if you don't feel the sensation, then you really don't need different programs. That may or may not be true. Sometimes you can get overstimulated and have other problems. Like with most things with spine issues and chronic pain issues, there is no single answer. There is no single best. Everybody's got a little different take on things. Every company's got a little different priority, from high frequency to different methods of programming and whatnot. So I'm only going to be on for about another 4 or 5 minutes. I'm trying to do about 20 minutes, try and do this on a regular basis and see what kind of traffic we can get. I'm grateful for the couple of people who have come in this morning. All right, there we see on Friday. Oh, you were given both high frequency and low frequency. Yeah, and they run concurrently. A lot of people, it seems, from a physics standpoint, when they turn up the frequency, it narrows the bandwidth, so it makes it more like a laser beam. So it gives more penetration, if you will. So it seems a lot of people who are running high frequency end up with overstimulation, which can cause problems in and of itself. I really find the two problems that people run into the most with spinal cord stimulators is they're not prepared for the whole process of recovery, not just from the implant, but once you get the implant working, if you can alleviate the pain, then you usually have to start doing physical rehab where you haven't used muscles and stuff in a long time because you modified what you do and how you do it due to your pain. So when you get the pain out of the equation, they think they're just going to be like they were, but you've got the muscle atrophy to deal with and strengthening and joints and ligaments that maybe haven't been used. So just like any type of working out, when you first start it, forgive my dogs in the background. I'll have to shoot some video of them one of these days. We've got 3 dogs that total 15 pounds. But yeah, when you get, once you get the pain out of the equation and then people start moving around more, it causes pain in and of itself. Or if it causes you more pain, you may have to go in for reprogramming because you're being more active, which I always try and remind people that it's a process. But a lot of people seem to really fall out or get discouraged right around the 4-month mark because they think they're going to turn the thing on, the pain's going to be gone, and they're going to be like they were 4 years ago before they got hurt, or however long they've been dealing with chronic pain. And there's a recovery process after the implantation process where you really have to get your stamina back. I work on my balance, I work on my cardio, I work on stretching and range of motion, because if you haven't used these things over a period of time, you tend to lose them. The old use it or lose it, which is why it's so important for those of us who have spinal issues in particular to remain as active as we can. I am really wondering what this snowflake, it's bugging me. Sorry, I had to take a look. It's bugging me. I do not know. Whoa. I accidentally turned on my speakers and caused some feedback. I apologize. So, yeah, I know. I think there's two reasons we're not told about it. Number one, I don't think every doctor is sinister or every rep is a bad rep. I think there's some, obviously, with any profession, venture, or whatever, there's some. But I think they really don't understand it and know it because they haven't been through it. Because if you don't, if you've never had an implant, which is virtually every doctor and every rep, then you've got no real idea what it even feels like. It's I always use the analogy, it's like somebody telling a blind person about color because the rep doesn't feel it. All they're going off is the description that their patients give them, and then they're turning it around and trying to describe it to another patient who's never felt it, and they just don't really know. And if they haven't been through it themselves, they don't get it. They just don't know. I'm going to move you guys a little bit so I can shift myself around. There we go. So yeah, it's definitely a process. I tell people it's not set it and forget it where, you're going to get the implant, they're going to turn it on, and you're going to go back to the way you used to be. But I mean, on the other hand, it just seems logical to some point that if you have been inactive for several months or years, that it's going to take you time to get some of that function back. So yeah, I think some people go into it with unrealistic expectations, either because the reps don't know and they're ignorant of it. I don't think they keep the information from people purposely. In fairness, not every rep has a science or medical background, and some of them seem to come up just short of used car salesmen. And I can say that without anybody bitching too loud, because I'm even worse than that. I actually owned a used car lot at one time. So I can say that if people don't like it, that's just too damn bad. But yeah, some of them are just kind of slick talkers, fast talkers. Unfortunately, I think they do a real disservice. I've been thinking about doing a video for programmers because I think if I can help the reps be better reps and do a better job programming, I can affect a lot more people positively than I can helping people one at a time, because each rep I help do their job better will in turn help many patients have better results. So let's see. Yeah, exactly that, Richard. Most doctors have not had chronic pain. In fact, I had a general practitioner a while ago. I've changed over the last year or so because I now have different insurance. But he told me that he had never truly appreciated chronic pain until he had a incident skiing where he messed up his ankle, and he says it's not terrible by any stretch, but it is constant. And he said he never realized how a mild pain that never stops could be so much more severe than a mild pain that is intermittent. I always use the analogy, if I give you a 20-ounce bottle of soda and ask you to hold it out at arm's length, I can't get that, hold it out straight to the side. It's no big deal for a few minutes. But if you try and do it for 10 minutes, it begins to become uncomfortable. At an hour, it's going to be really uncomfortable. Probably before that, let's be honest. But I'm just using the analogy. Over time, it becomes harder and harder to maintain. And what begins not being of any consequence at all becomes a very, very big deal. And of course, then also you have the interference with your sleep and other issues that go with chronic pain, which often leads to depression. There's the grieving of who you used to be and the things you used to be able to do, and becoming comfortable with the new you, if you will, or accepting it. That's a challenge virtually for every chronic pain patient I know. It's a life-changing experience. Another big issue with it is that a lot of people don't understand because I tell people all the time that having chronic pain is a lot like any other life event. It's like having, it's like the birth of a child, getting married, getting divorced, having a parent die. These are some of the things I've been through that until you do them and go through them yourself, you really cannot appreciate and understand what it's like. You can try and imagine it. You can try and be empathetic. You can think you know, but until it happens to you, you really do not know. So yeah, hey, if there were a way doctors could live with some chronic pain, that would be great. Yeah, the disrespect from family and the loss of friends. I get the disrespect from family mainly in an abstract way because I'm the sole surviving member of my family. My parents have been deceased for quite a few years, and I'm the only child of the family. And I really haven't had anything to do with my extended family in many, many years. But yeah, disrespect, toxic people are out there. There's, what are you going to do? Sometimes you just got to drop people who are poisonous out of your life. And I'm trying to get better at keeping up with the chat here. Let's see. Yeah, you really have to go through the process of grieving who you were, because your life has changed, and that's why I compare it to the loss of a loved one. Only in this case, it's yourself. Your new abilities or your new limitations, not being able to do things that you used to do. I know in my case, my injuries and problems cost me my career that I loved. I absolutely loved to go into work every day and made a good living. And all of a sudden, one day they just told me, look, you're never going to. I was a casino dealer, for those of you who don't know, for 20 years. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And once we got the CT myelogram of my cervical spine and they could see what was causing the numbness and fine motor skills problems in my arms and hands, they told me, they said, you're never going to deal again. It's just not going to happen. We can't fix it. It's not coming back. And yeah, that's really tough. Richard used to ski at over 100 miles per hour and was a sea captain. Yeah, I'm going to guess that I would think that you could maybe still captain. I actually have a friend who's been to Seamen's College and it's a woman, has her captain's license. An interesting life she leads. I bet you've got some amazing stories. And skiing at over 100, are you talking like downhill, or I can't fathom going water skiing at 100. Forgive my ignorance. I'm not much of a water skier or a skier. I know how to ski, the basics. I've done it. It's kind of a funny story I'll share just to kill some time. And, I want to bond with you guys. That's why I do videos. I want it to be interactive and have conversations. But yeah, I had told my kids for years that I don't ski, which is factually true. I don't ski. I never said I didn't know how to ski or I'd never skied. I just don't. I don't enjoy the unstable off balance feeling of being on skis. I'm a fat white guy who's clumsy, okay? I don't like that. I don't like being anything other than grounded. So, but I did volunteer to chaperone a ski trip for their school. So as a chaperone, I went for free, and I got my boards and the poles, and took the little tow thing up the bunny hill with my kids. And I think they were really looking forward to a big wipeout or something. But I did my little swoosh down the bunny hill, came to a stop, took my boards off, went in the chalet to supervise, because of course you can see the whole hill pretty much from the chalet. It's skiing in Minnesota, so it's kind of skiing. It's not like West skiing out here in Colorado and stuff. But and they were just in awe. They said, you said you can't ski. I said, no, I never said I can't ski. I said I don't ski. I would much rather snow tube than snow ski. Richard felt yeah, getting past the idea that you're going to get better. I mean, it's a delicate balance. You don't want to write off treatments just because you don't think they're going to work. But on the other hand, let's face it, with every walk of life, there are, we'll just call it sinister people, bad people, who will snake oil you and prey upon your desperate desire to try and get better. I'm not making any judgments on any particular treatments. I'm not a doctor. I don't have the expertise to tell you, obviously, what you should and shouldn't do. But we all know there are people out there that will straight up con people for profit. Paralyzed people go through that a lot, where they want to walk again so bad, and I get it. I spent 8 months pretty much in bed and being housebound, so I got a little taste of it, and I get it that you get desperate and you will try just about anything, but there comes a time where you've got to kind of accept the reality of the situation. Some people don't. I've talked to people who tell me, my surgeon told me, or my doctor told me I wasn't a candidate for surgery, and I talked to another guy and he didn't want to do surgery, and I talked to 7 doctors before I found one that would work on me, and now I'm messed up. Well, shit. I mean, at some point, discretion is the better part of valor, and a responsible surgeon is going to tell you when they can and cannot do stuff. And let's be honest, if you look long and hard enough, you will always find some quack who will be willing to carve on you for the money, and damn the results. And I hate to be a dick, but if it took you 25 doctors before you found one who said, yeah, he would try it, you might really want to check into their credentials and whatnot, because small surprise if you had to go that far down the line and got a quack and ended up screwed up. I mean, I'm just being real. That's my thought process. Obviously, everybody's got to make their own decisions. Richard, 50-ton master captain's license, but I can't get a good medical, so I'm a retired captain. I love to ski as fast as I could. So that was downhill skiing? Now you just do your job the best I can. You're a custom jeweler. Wow. Well, you know what, Richard? If you I get it, man. If you've got to keep fighting, I keep fighting for as much function as I can, to keep walking as long as I can. I guess I'm one of the really lucky people. I've got issues both in my lumbar spine and in my cervical spine. I've made some videos about what's wrong with me. I don't want to get off on that tangent too long, but as my doctor told me, he told me straight up, he says, you're about as fucked as anybody can get, because if they fixed either end, the other end would still be a problem. So eventually, we'll just cut to the chase. My long-term prognosis is full C4 paralysis. So think Christopher Reeves, for example. So, yeah, I'm fighting to keep as much function as I can. Richard, I was going to say, if you're a custom jeweler, man, and you've got a store or a website, email me. And, I'd love to comment on you, maybe throw out there. Maybe we do an interview and we can talk about what you do. I would love to help you promote that. I'll try and type in my email. Yeah, it's josephofborg@gmail.com. So if you want to Smithville Jewelers in Galloway, New Jersey. Yeah, shoot me an email, man. I would love to see some of your work, talk to you about what you do. I would love to do maybe a Zoom interview about what you do. I am always interested in trying to network with other chronic pain people, there's millions of us. If we would help each other out, we could do some great things. And since I've been blessed with this little platform, um, and I get a few hundred views a week, I've got a group I manage with a couple thousand people in it. If I can take somebody else who's a chronic pain patient and disabled or whatever and help promote them and create content about them, either I like to do Zoom interviews, through the Zoom app or whatever you want to call it, um, to help spread the word. Why not? Most of us have something we used to do. And if we make a point of trying to help each other out and network and work together, I think we can achieve great things. So, yeah, definitely email me about that. I would love to see some of your work, talk about it, maybe do an interview about it, and put together a little promotional thing for you to use or whatever. Any way I can help you out. I'm a big, big believer in people helping people. So, but I don't have too much else in mind this morning. It looks like I've got a couple of viewers. Looks like I lost one, but it looks like the tech is working good today. I'm really glad, because last week I thought perhaps the tech problems were on my end, but it turns out it was actually my internet provider doing some kind of work, and that's why my signal kept cutting in and out. So. All right. Well, you know what? I think I am going to sign out of here today. If you watch this video, enjoy it, spread the word. I'd love to have more people joining us. I'm here every Sunday morning. Quite frankly, since I'm not able to attend church in person anymore, this is kind of my ministry slash fellowship time. So I am always looking to get this spread. Oh, you think today's show was great? Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Like I said, I just want to get on here and talk with people and help bond with people and let them know they're not alone. And, try to do the best I can to be a light in dark places, because let's face it, it doesn't get a whole lot darker than chronic pain. And, try and fellowship with some people, try and make a difference in a positive way. I think that before I go, I want to comment that I really think that's an important thing. For those of us who are stricken with chronic pain or have lost our careers, so much of our life has changed, that if you can find something positive to do with your time and to be a blessing to other people, that really helps get through. My faith teaches me that that's one of the main reasons we're here. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I will hope to see all of you guys and a few more people next Sunday. With that, Joseph of Borg, one love from Las Vegas. I'm out of here.